Hey YouTubers, it's Hawaii Girl of Hawaii Girl Climb, Fly, and Explore. This morning our off-road adventure took us along the Cottonwood Pass to Wilson Tank Trail. We started at the north end of Cottonwood Pass. Cottonwood Pass is the off-road route along Cottonwood Valley Road. It offers scenic desert views and access between the Las Vegas Valley and the town of Good Springs. The large trailhead parking lot is used by many mountain bikers, hikers, and off-roaders. For reference, the drone used in this video is a DJI Air 3S. I have my FAA Part 107 certificate, but fly recreationally. My drone operations from a moving vehicle are conducted only when permitted under applicable FAA regulations. About half a mile from our start, we passed the Badger Pass trailhead on the left. This is another popular trailhead used by mountain bikers and hikers. Our ride took us down the valley with Mount Potosi to the west and Bird Spring Range to the east. Past the Badger Pass trailhead, there are a couple of side roads that branch off to the west. These side roads lead to trailhead parking areas for rock climbing access. After about 1.5 miles, Cottonwood Pass narrows and enters a wash where there are a few rocky sections, but none of them are technical. Coming up to mile 3, the road climbs out of the wash and starts to climb over Cottonwood Pass. At this time, we saw signs that announced that we were entering the Spring Mountains. We turned right and went up halfway to get some drone footage and take a short break. It was super windy, but the views were phenomenal. Continuing along, we came up to more signs that announced that we were leaving the Spring Mountains and entering Red Rock Canyon. We could also see parts of the Dead Horse Mountain Bike Trail alongside of this section, as well as the overlook in the distance to the left. At the 4.8 mile, we turned left onto a short turnoff to a lookout point. We could see the strip as well as Wilson Tank Trail below from this lookout point.
Las Vegas Strip in the distance there, and below us is the Wilson Tank Trail. We are at the overlook along Cottonwood Pass off-road trail. Beautiful day.
We got back onto Cottonwood Pass, and at the 5.2 mile, we chose to take the left onto Wilson Tank Trail instead of continuing along Cottonwood Pass. We drove about a quarter mile and came up to the top of this hill. It looks down the narrow road that runs along the cliff. This section was about a quarter of a mile long, and at the bottom we stopped at the Wilson Tanks and Spring to take photos and take a short break. After our break, we continued along the Wilson Tank Trail. The road is easy to navigate with just a couple of rocky sections, but not very technical. About a fourth mile from the Wilson Tanks is where the Wilson Tank Wash branches off. It has a technical rating of 5 out of 10. We stayed along the Wilson Tank Trail. At the 9-mile mark, we missed the bypass road on our left just before we got to the first hill. When we got to the second hill, we opted to take the bypass. And we went up the third hill instead of taking its bypass. At the 10-mile mark is where the Wilson Tank Wash meets up with the trail. It was shortly after this when it started to get really windy, and I kept getting high wind alerts on my RC2 screen. And my drone kept getting blown out of the tracking range. At one point, it almost flew into our 4Runner while I tried to regain control. I finally reset the home point and hit the return to home button. It stopped and hovered when it was just above us, so I canceled the return to home and manually landed. It was simply too windy for my comfort. As we neared the end, we drove into a small wash and through areas of conglomerate formations. Eventually, we could see the top of the houses, and there was trash strewn about the trail. After 16.2 miles and just under 3 hours, our run ended at the corner of South Wallapai Way and Gomer Road. For reference, I have a 3-inch lift with a 12-inch clearance and 285s. I forgot to bring my air compressors, so we didn't air down, and we ran 31 psi on all 4 tires. I used the onX Off-Road app to track our run along both trails. Both the Cottonwood Pass and the Wilson Tank Trail have technical ratings of 3 out of 10. I use the Aloft Air Control app to manage my drone flight and check airspace verification, TFRs, and any other restrictions for the area. For this run, we chose not to stay in the Cottonwood Pass all the way to the town of Good Springs, instead ending our run in the southwestern residential area of the Las Vegas Valley. Mahalo for watching and following us along our run. Hope you enjoyed my video and will join us for future off-road adventures. Aloha!
GoPro, stop recording.